I'm Alex Norton. My drag name is Alexandher Brandy. Well, I started getting into drag when I was about 14 in cosplay, and I would dress up more specifically as Cecil Baldwin, who is a character on Welcome to Night Vale. And the cool thing about Cecil Baldwin is that you can decide what he looks like however you want. So I would just dress up like him, and at like 3 in the morning in my room when everyone in my family was asleep, just like, because I didn't want my parents to see me. I wasn't allowed in my household or anything. And so I kind of really liked how I looked, and I would keep doing it. I would keep on dressing up like a guy. And that eventually led to me discovering what drag queens were. And then I just kind of assumed that drag kings existed and were as equal part of the drag scene as drag queens, and jumped right into wanting to be a drag king. Found out very quickly that's not the case. And then yeah, that's how I started doing what I do. Right now I play with what people think of femininity and masculinity. I classify as flamboyance and ruggedness. So I am a flamboyant man, main thing being man. And so I do play with gender and I play with the back and forth of it, but really at the core of everything, I am a flamboyant gay man is my drag and my life. The biggest crossover between my drag and my day life is probably just that I'm ridiculous and clumsy, and they're definitely not the same people. My friend comments on this all the time, where I am so much more confident in drag than I am out of drag. I can't ask for wasabi as a side when I get sushi, but I can take my clothes off in front of 200 plus people with no problem. And she's like, what the fuck is your problem? You're like the shyest man on the planet, but you can get naked in front of 200 people and talk about your sex life on a mic? And I'm like, yeah, that's Alexander, that's not Alex. My parents do know, but they're not involved at all in the drag scene. I'm very disconnected from my family right now. There's a whole history with that. And yeah, so they're just like they're not a part of this section of my life. I work as a stage manager right now during the day. I also do on-call work as a technician, so I work in the arts, which makes the transition really easy in my brain. I don't know if there's necessarily a balance. I just kind of make it work, whether that means not sleeping or what. So a lot of people in my day job know what I do, and I can show up to work in half drag or whatever and just get it done. I perform anywhere from 2 to 6 times a week. I'm a producer of House of Kings, which is a King-focused, the only King-focused club show in Toronto. There's also a monthly show called Kings and Classics, which is produced by Pretty Ricky. That is at Buddies and Bad Times Theatre. And then I perform at The Drink a lot. I perform at The Beaver, at The Round, and then any other places are one-off hires. I go out a lot. It's really, really hard to get a job as a king. A lot of places I have reached out to, and they're just not ready yet, and I am very new starting out, so I recognize that as well. But I've been very pushy in, hey, you should hire a drag king, whether or not it's me. Sometimes they'll hire me because I'm the one that they know. And then a lot of it is really just connections. Like a good friend of mine is Scarlett Bobo, who has connected me with a lot of the jobs that I've gotten. And then those jobs have led to other jobs, so it's just like any other job in the arts. It's who you know, not what you know. House of Kings right now is making profit. It is pretty much I produce 2 shows. I produce TMI at The Drink, which is by myself, and then House of Kings. House of Kings makes a profit, but Zachy and I only take a certain percentage of that, so we make as much money as our headliner does for all of our shows, and so that way we can make sure that a bunch of people get paid, because we want to pay a photographer and all of these people who don't usually have jobs in queer spaces because it's just not popular right now. Then obviously if we don't make enough money, we put the money back in and we don't pay ourselves. So it's, yes, I get paid. It barely covers the cost of costumes and makeup and stuff like that. No. Drag kings and there's so much you can learn about this. I talk about it relentlessly, but drag kings are seriously underrepresented, especially since RuPaul's Drag Race came out. Drag culture, as we know today, drag kings were a big part of that starting. Drag kings started in the 1800s, drag queens started in the 1920s, and it's sort of this like male impersonation. If you look at how we look at what it is today and people paying specifically for the impersonation of another gender, that started with male impersonation. And so it was this weird thing that in the 2000s, drag kings just sort of like fell off the face of the earth and stopped gaining popularity at all. With RuPaul's Drag Race, a lot of people just only know RuPaul's Drag Race queens, and so like club kids aren't getting as much representation as they should be, drag kings aren't getting enough representation as they should be, AFAB performers aren't getting enough representation. It's one of those things, and like we're fucking fighting for it. Like it's an endless battle, constantly arguing with people, but like we're getting there. I think that people just need to hire kings, and should go out and support king culture. Go out and see House of Kings and go and see Kings and Classics. Just go and see them. There's another good show called Drag Bingo, which happens at Glad Day, and that one is produced by Glitter Dunn. 100% recommend going and seeing it. It's a drag queen and a drag king. And more importantly than anything, tip your drag kings. It's a weird thing where everyone knows to tip drag queens now, but no one knows to tip drag kings. So a lot of the times when I get a chance to hire a king for a show in a club, they will turn to me and go, "Oh my God, I've never gotten a tip before." And I'm like, "But you've been doing this for 3 years." They're like, "Well, yeah, I've never been tipped at a show though. People don't do that in the king scene." So it's like, make sure you tip them, because I don't know what it is in the king culture. People don't tip, but just do it, because like it costs just as much, if not more, to put on king drag, because drag queens get paid more for their gigs than we do. So I'm putting myself forward as being as equal an opportunist as any other drag queen. So I 100% in 5 years see drag being my full-time job. Hopefully that works out for me. I will hopefully be producing my own shows. I'm auditioning for different things that are happening that I can't talk about right now, but will potentially lead to international touring, ? So we're just like really crossing our fingers on hearing back for those. Yeah, and just like, I just want it to be a thing, and I just want to like have a whole bunch of amazing, cool trans people. And my drag is going to change completely in 5 years, because by 5 years, I will have finished transitioning, but I will look a lot more masculine in day to day. And so that's something that I'm really interested to see how that evolves alongside of my drag. My number one advice would be to go out and see shows and put yourself out there, and don't expect anything in return. Fight for what you need to get as a performer. Fight for your ability to perform in these spaces that you're not usually at. but don't expect to get it right away. You can follow me at AXBrandy on Instagram, and you can see me every third Monday of the month at TMI at The Drink, and catch me and Zachy Lime with House of Kings at House of Kings Toronto on Instagram.